reason I share the struggles with such candor is because I think it's quite easy to look at people that we perceive to be successful, when we see them, you know, confidently putting themselves out there in social media or doing public speaking or whatever the situation may be, and think it's all right for them. And the reason I talk about this with such passion is because it absolutely wasn't all right with me. I knew deep down I was capable of more, but I felt completely worthless at the time. I used to, my anxiety would be so bad on certain days that it was a real challenge even being able to leave the house. And all the things that I'd believed in when I had been successful back in the day in my late teens, early 20s, when I used to follow people like Tony Robbins, I turned my back on that, and I just thought that was a load of woo woo, happy, clappy BS. Um, Interestingly, the correlation for me of not believing and buying into this alternative world was linked to a really negative sort of period in my life. But it was actually my husband. It was just very interesting how it all came about. It was we were actually in a three-way business partnership in our electrical business, and our other business partner's cousin, who was very successful in the construction space. He was out in Dubai building all sorts of huge buildings and what have you. Very smart, very clever guy. He'd actually done some property education. Now, I wasn't familiar with the wealth creation space at all. And my husband and his business partner and her business partner had decided to actually go and do this training. And I mean, that wasn't for people like me. Like I say, I was in a very different mind frame back then. I was still very much struggling with my own mental health at that point. And it was actually, yeah, I mentioned Tony Robbins a moment ago, but my husband was listening to it's a sort of prerequisite to do this training. There was quite a few modules that you would do at home, and he was he had it on Apple Play on the big screen in the telly. And the first module was actually mindset, and one of the property coaches was talking about Tony and quoting him and saying, if something's humanly possible, then why not you? And it just kind of hit me like a ton of bricks, and it ignited a fire in my belly that had extinguished many, many years before. But there was always that little ember. There was always that little ember where I knew. And I was one of those people. I used to constantly get frustrated pretty much in any job I was in, because I'd look at the infrastructure and the bureaucracy and the red tape, and I just wasn't born to ever be an employee. But ironically, I'm a qualified careers advisor now, but I had no clue what I wanted to do as a fully skilled, highly trained careers advisor. I had no clue about my own life. And there's so many of us, I think, fall into that category, but there was no guidance around entrepreneurship or starting your own business or anything like that. And I used to make a career out of helping other people extract their transferable skills, yet I wasn't able to identify any of my own. So I remember saying to my husband, well, perhaps I should go on this property training. And he kind of looked at me a bit surprised, thinking, well, he's the most supportive man in the world, but it was never something that I'd shown any inclination of an interest in. So anyway, I made some inquiries, and he and I actually went on the training together, which was incredible, because I don't know if I'd have had that confidence, truth be told, to walk through those doors had it not been for my husband. And it was really interesting because we did this training, and I made a commitment to go absolutely all out. It's been a hell of a journey, and it's been laced with trials and tribulations. That's where it really gets started. But we went out there and we bought two. We had no money, bear in mind. We bought two properties within 4 days of doing the property training. Um, we did 25 property deals in our first year, and we've just not looked back.